Donald Trump's Joseph Goebbels there, Stephen Miller, started railing on the city of Memphis as if he's some kind of tough guy.
To the Memphis Police Department, to the officers that I see sitting in front of me, we are about to provide you with a level of support you cannot even imagine. This isn't just a task force. This is a all-of-government unlimited support operation. ATF, DEA, FBI, ICE, Department of War, every resource we have. And they're not going to be sitting behind a desk at a keyboard. We are sending in real cops with guns and badges to go out with you on the street every single night making arrests. These are people who have taken down drug cartels, kingpins, the worst criminal offenders in the United States, standing with you shoulder to shoulder to shoulder. All we ask from you is to show up at roll call every single night with your brothers and sisters in the federal government and to go out and get the criminals off the street. And if you do that, I pledge to you, we will liberate this city from the criminal element that has plagued it for generations. This is not just a strategy shift. This is an attitude shift. We are not going to live in an environment anywhere where there is a street that belongs to a criminal, where there is a neighborhood that belongs to a gang, where there is any physical space anywhere that belongs to anyone other than the law-abiding citizens and families of Memphis. The idea that there is a square inch of block in this city where a citizen doesn't feel safe is unacceptable. This is Memphis, this is the United States of America, and all that bullshit is done. It's over, it's finished.
Stephen Miller is a little bitch. Stephen Miller's the kind of guy that would start fights and then get his ass whooped and then complain about how somebody kicked his ass. No, Stephen Miller's also the type of guy who would get his friends into fights. Then if they happen to win, he's standing around like, who else wants some? That's the kind of little bitch Stephen Miller is. You know, he's the kind of guy who thinks he's superior. That's why he always talks about white supremacy and shit all the time. And then afterwards, he goes home and sleeps at night and he cuddles up in his bed and he wishes he was somebody else and not stuck in that slimy sack-like of a body that he's got with his stupid fucking head. That's the kind of person Stephen Miller is. So now that Stephen Miller has been given some kind of power and backup to his white supremacist bullshit that he always talks about, he's going to go in and talk about how great and strong he is. You know, we're going to unleash the cops. How about somebody unleash your sorry ass and see if you can stand up, you sorry sumbitch. That's who Stephen Miller is. But he wasn't even done because he's targeting certain people that he really doesn't like because he's a tough guy.
You know, the gangbangers that you deal with, they think that they're ruthless. They have no idea how ruthless we are. They think they're tough. They have no idea how tough we are. They think that they're hardcore. We are so much more hardcore than they are. And we have the entire weight of the United States government behind us. What do they have? They have nothing behind them. So we are going to win. They are going to lose.
These gangbangers, you think you're tough? What a little baby. You guys think you're tough? This guy's in a constant competition to somehow prove he's not the little person that he is, that he's not this little weakling that's always been afraid of life. Every time someone that has a skin tone that's one shade darker than him, he cowers and he jumps and he's afraid that somebody's going to kick his ass. We're tougher than you. We're more brutal than you. You think you're hardcore? Nobody says hardcore, you sap. He said it very openly right there. We've got the military behind us. He's exposing exactly what I was talking about. He's the guy who starts fights, hides behind his buddies, in this case, his hired buddies, and says, you guys go get him. And he holds onto their shoulders and does this. Go get him. Go get him. Who listens to this whiny ass and goes, yeah, that's a leader. That's a guy that I want to be behind. That's someone who's forceful and strong. Listen to his voice again. There's only 10 more seconds of him talking about what it is he wants to do to Memphis.
I see the guns and badges in this room. You are unleashed. The handcuffs that you're carrying, they're not on you anymore. They're on the criminals. And whatever you need to get it done, we're going to get it done.
All that same talk that Donald Trump was saying during the campaign. We're unleashing cops on you. No more handcuffs on you. As if cops haven't been locking people up in the streets, which was the reason why there was that summer of 2020 protest over Black Lives Matter, because they've been doing this systematically since they become cops. So please stop with the reconstruction of history and actually our current state of affairs in this country. Oh man, police are such victims. Oh man, they're always getting treated the wrong way, man. They're not fucking anybody up. They're just walking through the streets handing out flowers and people are running up and just kicking them in the nuts. It's so bad. I can't believe the cops have to keep putting up with all these savage minorities. So we've got people like Stephen Miller and Donald Trump who like to say things like that. And then they get their racists riled up and they said, come join us in this fight. We got your back. We'll strip all kinds of responsibility from anything that you do because we want you to go and start cracking skulls in the name of white supremacy. And the second half of the annoying nature of these exchanges is when someone like Karen Bass, the mayor of Los Angeles, gets asked about it. I want you to hear the difference between the way Stephen Miller was out there just like, squawking over and over again about how badass he is, and the response from Karen Bass. Everybody's not the same type of person. It's okay. I'm not here to super criticize Karen Bass. I just want you to see the difference in the energies.
Well, let me just register that this is such a tragic moment in our history, and the experiment that started here has now gone to other cities and is now being generalized. I believe that they have been dosing the American people so that this becomes normalized behavior. The statements that were made to the military yesterday, acknowledging that we are going to experiment with our cities and use our cities as training grounds for warfare. So what that is saying is that the President of the United States wants to turn the U.S. military against the American people and to tell law enforcement that they are now unleashed and they can use their guns is essentially saying go in primarily inner city communities and shoot people. So after years of trying to work on police reform, and that was an issue that I worked on when I was a member of Congress, the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, to improve police and community relations, Stephen Miller just said, let's antagonize it, because clearly this is only going to happen in certain communities. And this is just a tragic moment, and it's a real challenge to our democracy in such a profoundly negative way.
It's a tragic moment. And it's such a challenge to our democracy. It's so profound. That's why I worked so hard to try and do things differently. It's okay to cite what it is you work differently and hard to try and do. But now it's a tragic moment. It's horrific what they're trying to do to our country. Now that Stephen Miller is out saying, all those same things that Donald Trump said he was going to do during the campaign. Why then are we having to be so tight-lipped and mealy-mouthed about what it is that these guys were doing? I mean, you guys are overreacting. So now that the overreacting that they called is now actual reality, like people said it would be, I think it's about time for those overreactors to get even louder. This is what was happening during the campaign. And see if it sounds anything like what Stephen Miller's talking about now.
The local police are great. They're just not allowed to do their job. They're afraid of losing their pension. They're afraid of losing their wife or husband. They're going to lose their house. They're losing everything. And one of the things I'm doing is giving local police immunity from prosecution. They get prosecuted. When they do their job, they get like your soldiers.
We're going to rebuild our cities. We're going to bring them back like they used to be. And we're going to make them safe places again. We're going to give our police their power back, and we're going to give them immunity from prosecution. So they're not prosecuted for doing their job. We'll take over the horribly run capital of our country, Washington, D.C., and clean up, renovate, and rebuild our capital city so that it's no longer a nightmare of murder and crime. We're going to rebuild our cities into beacons of hope, safety, and beauty better than they have ever been before. Right now, they're killing fields, our cities. We're going to give back our law enforcement. We're going to give them back the respect that they deserve. They are being treated so badly. If they do something that's harsh to stop a crime, they end up losing their pension, they end up losing their job, they end up losing their family and their home. And I'm giving immunity to police all over the country for that. I mean, we have some police forces where they make you go out and get a lawyer to defend yourself. They won't defend you. You have to hire your own lawyer.
His soldiers and the police get prosecuted for doing things wrong. Don't forget, just yesterday, 2 days ago or so, Pete Hegseth was standing in front of a bunch of military leaders and said, we're taking off all those stupid rules of engagement. We don't need all that stuff. He's going to go take over D.C. and clean it up. Weird how he now has military in D.C. and is now spreading it to Memphis. When a police officer does something a little harsh, like kill your kid, that little harsh thing like murder someone or put them in the hospital or shoot them in the chest for sitting in their car. Those little harsh things that police officers may do from time to time. As soon as they do that, their whole lives are destroyed. Can you believe they murdered someone and their whole lives are destroyed? Can you believe that someone's kid no longer has their father anymore? It's odd. Isn't it weird? It's such a little thing. Because, when you minimize someone's life, specifically groups of people's lives, and call them all savages and inferior human beings, you might have this mindset and policy that then says, let's destroy them. They're insignificant human beings.